Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, everybody. How is it going today? I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. I am feeling super good today because I am back behind the microphone. I get to talk about living a healthy and happy life and share some tips and things that work for me. I get to do this all for you and hopefully help you live a healthy and happy life. I am super passionate about health and wellness. I have definitely been paying attention to my physical and my mental health. Especially recently, I've really been paying attention to the things I'm putting into my body, making sure I'm getting enough exercise. I pay a lot of attention to my mental health and what I can do to better that at all stages in my life. I really like to dive deep into different thought patterns and just things that I am doing in my everyday life that is affecting my overall wellness. So I'm really excited to be able to talk about stuff that I am so passionate and share all these things with you. So let's just jump right into it, okay? Today's episode is really exciting for me because I wanted to start my first episode on Health and Wellness Podcast with something that I'm really passionate about and something that I have done recently that's made a really big positive impact of how I'm feeling physically and mentally, okay? So as you can see from the title, today's episode is all about deep cleaning your life. It's springtime. I don't know if you have kind of done the whole spring cleaning your house thing that we are all, I think, usually doing around this time. At least some of us are. I love springtime for that. I don't know. I guess you can clean your house at any time, but it just feels like a good time right before the summer's coming, that you get to just get down and dirty with what's dirty in your house, right? We kind of dive into the things that we don't like to do or that we neglect for a majority of the year. So maybe you're moving items out of your cabinets and your drawers and you're really wiping down in there. Maybe you're cleaning your baseboards or your blinds or cleaning out your pantry or your fridge or finally organizing the bins in your garage or the inside of your oven or behind your oven, right? Like there are all these things that we need to clean and go through that we just sometimes push behind us and pretend that it's not there, and we just let them collect dust until, okay, I better clean that, okay? So we just get down and dirty with what's dirty in our house, and we're going to talk about getting down and dirty with what's dirty in our lives, okay? We need to remove things that we no longer need, so that we can replace them with things that are serving us, that are stuff that we do need that's going to benefit our overall life and happiness and wellness. So how do you feel after you spring clean your house? For me, I feel like a clean environment, especially when you get down and you really clean it's that deep clean. It's like a burst of inspiration to do new things. Like maybe you cleaned your kitchen so well and you organized all the drawers and the cabinets, and now it's just like motivated you to like cook more and eat healthier. Maybe it's motivated you to make a weekly cleaning list so you don't have to do all these big deep cleans a couple times a year. it's scientifically proven that a clean environment, a clean space, means that you're going to focus better, that you're going to have less distractions. Whether you are a clean freak or not, I am a clean freak. I am guilty of that. I love a clean environment. But it is proven that whether you have a mess in your kitchen, like whether that really bothers you or it doesn't, or you don't think it bothers you, it's actually in the back of your mind and it is distracting you from focusing at your tasks or your work, whatever you are doing. So having a clean space, doing a spring deep clean just feels like a clean slate, okay? It helps you just kind of revamp, a little bit of motivation, inspiration to just like do those things that you've been meaning to do, okay? Or you just have this clean space so you can focus better and you can get back on track with maybe your goals or your health, right? Eating healthier, whatever it is to you. So today we're going to deep clean our lives. We're going to talk about different thought patterns. We're going to assess where we are. We are going to organize. We are going to implement new things into our lives. It is going to be a super fun episode. So I suggest grabbing a piece of paper and a pen because you are going to have to do some reflection after. I'm going to give you a lot of journal prompts. I hope you are a journaler, or I hope you just take to note some of these things that I'm going to talk about and really just give them a deep thought for yourself, because I promise once we declutter our minds and we remove things that are no longer serving us, we are going to better our overall wellness extensively, okay? This is crucial. So let's dive into it. I have so much to share with you. We got to be real. We got to be honest about what is dirty in our lives, okay? What needs to be decluttered? What needs to be removed so that we can make room for better things that are going to serve us? So I found this quote that I thought went really, really well with today's episode, and it says, "Clutter is not just the stuff on the floor. It's anything that stands in between you and the life you want to be living." That is by Peter Walsh. And that is such a good kind of summary for this episode. I got some of these ideas from someone that I look up to, Rachel Hollis. You might know her. She has a podcast. You might read some of her books, watch her YouTube videos. I look up to her a lot, and she talked about deep cleaning her life and the benefits that it has. And so I took my own spin on it because it made such a positive impact for me. And now I want to be able to share that with you and hopefully get the same reaction. Hopefully you can receive all these positive benefits that I have received from doing this. So let's dive into it, okay? The life that you are living today is the result of what you planted 6 months ago. I'm going to say that one more time. The life that you are living today is the result of what you planted 6 months ago. And this leads me into the first step of spring cleaning your life. We have to check in. We have to assess where we are. Just like when you're going to spring clean your house, you're going to take a look around. You're going to say, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to clean behind the stove? Did I do that last week? Do I need to clean behind the washer and the dryer? Right? You're going to start making a list of all the things that you need to do. This is what I want you to do for your life. You're going to check in, okay? Where were you 6 months ago? Because 6 months ago, you planted seeds in your life, and that is the result of where you are today. So how are you feeling mentally and physically? Okay? Do you feel on track with your goals? Were you having, maybe you're having a hard time eating healthy? Maybe there's something that happened that kind of threw you off track from your goals or where you want to be? I know these are a lot of questions, okay? But stay with me. I know we were in a pandemic 6 months ago, and we're in a pandemic now. And so when you think about, okay, well, where I was 6 months ago and where I was now, some crazy things have happened, right? Like, I didn't know we were going to be in this pandemic for this long. I didn't know. I know, I get it. It's a little bit crazy, but we have been in this pandemic, unfortunately, for quite some time now. And even though we can't control a lot of things in our lives, we can't control this pandemic, we can't control anything that's kind of happening around us with that, but we can control how we respond to it. And that's why it's important to check in today where you were 6 months ago and where you are now. Because maybe 6 months ago, you were still really adjusting to the craziness of everything going on in our world. And You just fell off track, and that's okay. A lot of us did. But now it's time to refocus our energy, refocus where we were and where we are and how we can better ourselves 6 months from now, okay? This is so important to check in with yourself. I like to do this every single morning. I'm not perfect, but I've really been trying to get into the routine of checking in with myself every single morning. So this is what you want to ask. You want to say, how do I feel? What is working and what is not working? What are the actions, the habits, the thought patterns that are sabotaging where you want to go in life and the person that you want to be? What decisions are you making right now that are affecting where you want to go? Big questions, right? This is not just something that you can kind of list off the top of your head. That's why I want you to start writing these down and really start to think about them. And I know you're probably thinking, okay, whoa, this is a lot. Like, I don't know where I want to go. Like, I'm trying to figure this whole life thing out. Like, how am I supposed to know where I want to go? I'm still trying to determine that. I get it. It's overwhelming, but I really like to think about it in this way, okay? This might help you kind of maybe just be a little less anxious about it. I think it just makes it a little bit more clear. So I like to think about my life as a roadmap, okay? You're going on a road trip and you have all these different sites that you want to see, these places that you want to visit. And if you're going on a road trip and you're going to look at a roadmap, you can't figure out how you're going to get to these sites that you want to see if you don't know where you are, where your starting point is, right? How are you supposed to figure out the directions to get to that site if you don't know where your starting point is? So this is just like life, okay? You can't figure out where you're going in life if you don't know where you are. You're not going to be able to figure out how to get to where you want to go in life if you don't know where you are. So this is why you have to assess. What are your values? How do you want to show up in this world? What kind of vibration do you want to make? What is your energy? All of these questions are going to help carve a path for you on your roadmap, okay? And when you can see a physical list, physical evidence sitting in front of you of the things that are sabotaging you from getting to where you want to be, or from stopping you from becoming the person that you want to be, it makes it a whole lot easier to kind of reverse these things, or to then implement habits and rituals and plant the proper seeds so that 6 months from now you are where you want to be, or at least you're well on your way, okay? You're going in the right direction. Now, it's really important to assess all the stuff that's not going well and the stuff that is sabotaging, but you also need to assess everything that is going right. I know that the pandemic has brought on a lot of negatives for a lot of people, but there are some positives, okay? And so maybe you've had some positives in the last 6 months, okay? Maybe you've really enjoyed your time alone because you've had more time to reflect or to read or to invest in yourself with some education. Maybe you got to spend more time with family, or you took up a new hobby. These are positive things, okay? So write everything down. What is working and what is not working? What decisions are you making today that is affecting where you want to go and the person that you want to be? This is just like making your checklist for spring cleaning your house, okay? You got to do the cabinets, and you got to do behind the stove, and you got to do the garage and the basement, okay? Maybe you need to really reflect on your values, how you want to show up in the world, the habits that you have been doing on a day-to-day basis that are an actual negative impact on your overall wellness. You have to assess where you are so you can figure out where you want to go and how you're going to get there. These are not easy questions, okay? These are not something we can just list off the top of our head. We have to think about it. And these are the things that we don't want to think about a lot of the time because they're hard. These are tough questions to ask ourselves, and these are tough answers to figure out. It's just like those deep cleans. None of us want to spend hours in our garage going through the bins that we have just neglected for years on end. We don't want to spend the time organizing those. Why do you think we've neglected them for so many years? It's the same thing with your life. We neglect the things that we actually really need to think about because they're tough. But we don't want to take the easy route, okay? We want to take the hard route because that is when we are going to evolve, we are going to grow, and we are going to be on the right path in the right direction to where you want to go in life and who you want to be. So let's sum it up, okay? We're going to check in with ourselves. Where was I 6 months ago? Where am I right now? How am I feeling? Okay, what is working? What is not working? How do I want to show up in this world? What are my values? These are all going to help you discover the seeds that you planted 6 months ago that resulted to where you are today. Just like making a checklist for your deep cleaning your house, okay? You have to assess where you are so you can figure out where you want to go and how you're going to get there. I can't repeat that enough. It is so, so important. Figure out your starting point. Dig deep, okay? So it's time for a break coming up here, but when we get back, we are going to dig so deep into what is dirty into your life. We are going to get uncomfortable, and we are going to go through the things that you have neglected, the things that you don't want to think about. But I promise it is going to be well worth it. It's going to make a positive impact on your life. And once you go through this deep cleaning, you are going to feel so good. You're going to feel motivated and inspired to get back on that road and to be going in the right direction. Okay, I have a few steps with deep cleaning. So we're going to get really deep when we come back from the break, but don't worry, you have to stick around to the end because at the end I'm going to bring all the fun stuff that we get to do because there are fun stuff that happens with deep cleaning, your spring cleaning, okay? So don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
Are you looking to learn more about the latest trends from the fitness world? Are you confused by all of the different trends that are out there? The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place for you. The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place to come for people of all skill and interest levels. Join us as we explore the latest trends in the fitness world. Does that new exercise really work? Should I try yoga? Whatever your question, chances are good you'll find an answer on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. My name is Alyssa Jo. Just in case you forgot, I know I'm new, so I'm going to say it again. Welcome back from the break. I hope that your head's already turning. I hope you're going a little bit crazy. I hope you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Because it's going to be worth it, okay? I promise. I sharing this with you today because it worked for me, because it has made a very positive impact in my life over just the last month since I did this, okay? It works. Deep cleaning works, okay? So what we talked about before the break is surface level compared to how deep that we're going to go into what is dirty in your life. Okay, these are the tough spots. These are the really, really tough spots, okay? These are the things that we hold off all year long because we got to put some extra effort into it, okay? And it's just not easy. It's not easy, but we're about to get down and dirty with it, okay? So now what I want you to ask yourself is, what is holding you back emotionally? Okay, so we assessed, where you are, where you want to go, right? And we kind of talked about, okay, what's sabotaging? What are the decisions that I am making that are affecting those things, right? Now we got to dig deep into our emotional level, okay? What is holding you back emotionally? The thought that is eating at you, okay? That one thing that would feel like a huge weight lifted off of your shoulders if you were just able to get rid of it, okay? Or maybe just resolve it properly. It's that thought that always keeps coming back and you just keep pushing it down further and further and further, okay? It's basically like the back end of your junk drawer. I don't know if you're like me, but I think every house has a junk drawer is what I like to call it. And it's basically that drawer of miscellaneous things that you like don't really know where to put them, or you're just like too lazy to like put them away properly, so you kind of just like shove everything in that drawer. I hope I'm not the only one. Okay, I know people have junk drawers. So this is basically the stuff that is at the very back of your junk drawer that you're like, I don't want to deal with that. So you just push it back, and you just keep piling more things into that drawer until it feels non-existent because you can't see it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Well, we're going to get it back in sight. We're going to clean that junk drawer today, okay? We have to deal with it eventually. Whether you deal with it in spring or winter or summer, it doesn't matter. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with it. And I picked today for you. Today, you're going to have to deal with what is eating at you emotionally. This thing that you have shoved down so far that you know in the back of your head, you know in the back of your mind, subconsciously or unconsciously, it's there and it is eating at you. Now, this could mean so many different things, okay? Maybe it's the fear of failure that's holding you back. The fear of judgment or ridicule. Could be your perfectionism that is eating at you. You know, you can't focus on things. You have to be perfect all the time, and it holds you back from experiencing life in beautiful ways. Maybe you're not celebrating all your victories, big or small. I am definitely guilty of this one, okay? I'm guilty of most of these, actually. But when we don't celebrate all of our victories, big and small, then we don't feel proud of ourselves. We don't want to show off anything. We're just like, no, like that wasn't enough, right? We're just, no, it's not enough. I need to go bigger. I need to do more, right? And that eats away at us, even when we aren't realizing it, okay? Maybe that you're just not really present either because you're shoving all these things down. You're not celebrating those small victories. So you're not being able to be present and grateful for where you are right now in life and the things that you have accomplished, the things that you are working on, how much you have grown. Or it could be someone or something in your life that's just no longer serving you. And when I say somebody or many people, this is a really tough one, okay? This brings me into the next point of deep cleaning. We have to deep clean, we have to declutter, and sometimes completely get rid of some people in our lives. This is hard. I think this is one of the hardest things that we can do is to really assess, okay, what kind of relationships do I have in my life? What kind of friendships? What kind of people am I surrounded by? And are they serving me? You know, what am I giving to that relationship and what am I receiving in return? Okay? If there is somebody that kind of popped into your mind when I started to list off these different things, chances are that person is no longer serving you. They are affecting your life in a negative way and not a positive way. And it is affecting who you are and where you want to go and how you're going to get there, okay? I could do a whole episode on just this because there's so much information that comes into who you have a part of your life. I think it's so crucial who you surround yourself with because it is true. It's not just a saying or a cliche thing that you become who you surround yourself with. If you are surrounded by positive, uplifting, kind, genuine, happy people, you are also going to raise to that vibration, that energy level, and you are also going to be those things. Compared to if you were surrounding yourself by somebody who is very negative, very down on themselves. Maybe they talk behind their other friends' backs, and right, it's all about drama and gossip, and it's just like, it's draining, right? And chances are when you hang out with this person or these people, you feel quite drained afterwards, and you don't really know why, but you just feel tired. You just feel mentally, I need a nap. Like a week-long nap, okay? So you really got to assess what kind of relationships are in your life. What kind of relationships do you want to have in your life? What role do you play in those relationships? I think that's a really important factor too, because I know we can't just get rid of some people that are toxic in our lives. Maybe it's someone in your life and you're like, I literally can't get rid of that person. Like they are someone that is around no matter what. Like I can't get rid of them. I get that, but we can set boundaries for ourselves, okay? And maybe you don't need to completely get rid of them. You just got to declutter it a little bit. When I say declutter, that means we have to set boundaries, okay? And you have to assess what kind of boundaries you need in your life so that this person is not affecting you in a negative way. Boundaries are so important. That's a whole nother episode I can do as well. But declutter. Set those boundaries, or you just completely get rid of it. And this is hard, especially if somebody has been in your life for a very long time. Maybe they play a really crucial role, but you just haven't been honest with yourself about the negative things that they are bringing into your life or the way that they are making you feel. And I hope when you did the first step, when you start to assess everything that's going on in your life, I hope you really thought about the people that are uplifting it, the decisions that you have made, the people that you have brought into your life or that you have surrounded yourself with. I hope you kind of really pinpointed what's working and what's not working, because that makes this step a little bit easier. And none of this is easy. We have to be raw and real and honest about what is serving us and what is no longer serving us, okay? So I got another quote for you. The first step about crafting the life you want is to get rid of everything you don't. Joshua Becker. I love that because it's so true. We have the power to create the life we want to live. We have the power to get to where we want to go on that roadmap, to be that person at the end of the roadmap, okay? We have the power to create that for ourselves, 100%. But sometimes we have to do the hard work of getting rid of the things that are not working, that are holding us back, okay? That is stopping us from getting to that point. This is big. It's big, okay? I know it's hard. It's a lot. I'm throwing so much at you. So I really, really hope you're writing this stuff down. Now, the next step that we're going to do, we're going to organize, okay? We are going to organize. This is just like spring cleaning your house. Okay, we've now assessed everything. We said, okay, where am I? Where do I want to go? What are the things that are serving me or that are no longer serving me? And how can I now implement the right seed so that 6 months from now, I'm not in the same place, okay? And that I am heading in the right direction. It's just like organizing your house. Okay, so I cleaned everything out. Now maybe you want to get some new baskets and some drawer dividers, and you want to fold everything nicely. And if you're like me, you want to color code everything nicely. You organize, okay? I love organizing. It is like, it's my happy place. I love organizing. I love having things in its place. And it's fun when I'm doing it for my house. But when we organize our lives, it's a little bit more difficult, okay? It's not as fun, but don't worry. I will get to the fun stuff. There is a fun step about deep cleaning your life, and I'll get there. I promise, okay? But right now we got to organize. And so organizing your life means what kind of habits, what kind of rituals that you can implement now that are going to plant the proper seeds to where you want to go, okay? And so this is where you really need to know what are your goals, so that you can start to pick away the habits and the rituals that are going to work for that. Now, this is exactly why you started your New Year's resolutions and stopped after 2 weeks, because you tried to implement 10 different habits, 10 different rituals to get you to where to try to meet these goals. It is not sustainable to try to implement all these habits at the same time. Okay, that's difficult. You're setting yourself up for failure. It's inevitable, okay? So when you are starting to think about these habits that you want to put into your life, and I know you want to, okay, I'm feeling motivated though, everything's clean, I've decluttered everything, I want to get going on these goals and get it going on my roadmap in the right direction. I know, it's exciting, you want to do everything at once, but it will never be sustainable. You have to implement a habit one at a time. Okay, so once you get a list of your habits or your rituals that you're going to implement into your life, you got to break it down. I like to break mine down into 2 habits, usually that I like to try to, 2 new habits, okay? So for a week, I say I'm going to do these 2 things They could be as simple as I'm going to drink 2 liters of water and I'm going to make my bed every day. Maybe those are 2 things that are going to help you plant the proper seeds for 6 months from now. Okay? And you're thinking, oh, well, that seems pretty easy. Like just drinking 2 liters of water and making my bed. Like, oh, I can probably add some more habits that are a little bit more difficult. No. Okay? Start off small. Okay? Baby steps. Okay? It's hard. It's so hard to do. But if you haven't already been implementing these habits or these rituals into your life, what makes you think that all of a sudden it's going to be so easy now to do it and do all of them at once? It's not. It's just not. So once you get the hang of those 2 habits, once you're able to drink those 2 liters of water and you make your bed every single day, and you can do that for, say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I think it's different for everybody when they feel ready that it's become a habit. I know some people say, oh, like 28 days or 3 weeks or whatever it is that like you to build that habit. I don't really necessarily believe in that. I believe that everybody's different and that it depends on your habit and who you are and your mindset. I think it's mind over matter all the time. So if this is something that you can get the hang of in 1 week and you say, oh yeah, no brainer, no problem, I feel confident, that is now a habit, then you can start to implement another habit into it. And then when you get the hang of that one, then you implement another one. And you're slowly building yourself up to planting the right seeds that you can harvest 6 months from now. But just don't overwhelm yourself, okay? You're not in a race with anybody. This is your life. You are creating it. And don't you want it to be sustainable? Because if you're thinking back to, like, say, your New Year's resolutions, you're like, oh, yeah, like, I didn't keep up with that. I'm not doing anything that I listed on my New Year's resolutions or the goal list that I made 6 months ago, right? That is because you probably overwhelmed yourself and you started to do too many things at once. So start small, start slow. You're not in a race, okay, at all. This is just you on your own roadmap. You can drive as slow as you want, okay? I just love all these analogies. I hope you're loving them as much as I am. So start small. I really like to do like a morning routine or a night routine that I really like to try to stick with, but I slowly implement that. Like for me, a strong morning routine really sets me up. It really benefits me. And so there was a list of things that I wanted to do every single morning. And honestly, for months on end, I tried to do all of those things at once. And I was like, okay, I got to do all of them in the morning. I have to do all of them before this time. But I failed because it wasn't sustainable to keep up with, because as motivated and inspired as I wasn't functioning that way for so long. And so me just throwing in all these new things, as positive and great as they were, I wasn't going to be able to keep up with them. So then I started to break it down. Okay, now I'm just going to do this and this in the morning, okay? I'm just going to write down 3 gratitudes, and I'm going to make sure I drink my water before my coffee. Those were like 2 things that I really wanted to do. I had a list of things I wanted to add into my morning routine, but I started out with those 2 things until I got the hang of those, and then I'm implementing more. And then I implement my check-in every morning, right? And I had to do that for a long period of time before it's becoming a habit. It's still something that I'm working on, is setting up this distinctive morning routine. And I know it's something that I really want, but I have to slowly add it in. I hope that makes sense. I hope I engrave that into your brain to go slow, okay? So it's time for another break, but don't go anywhere, because I am going to be now sharing. We kind of went through the dirty part, the really, really dirty part. We're going to get to the fun stuff, okay? There are fun stuff that happens with deep cleaning, and we're going to get to the fun stuff of deep cleaning your life as well, okay? So don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Okay, so I said we're getting to the fun stuff, and I promise we are getting to the fun stuff. I think that this stuff might be a little bit more fun for me than it is for most other people, but I still think it's really fun, and it's also really important to talk about. So we just kind of went over habits and rituals, and that's kind of the organizational piece of spring cleaning your life. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, okay? And I promise there are some fun stuff that's going to be coming up here. So when we talk about habits and rituals and implementing all those things into our lives, you know, that can be taken so many different ways. It's like, okay, yeah, I got to drink more water. I got to make sure I'm eating properly. I want to get in the habit of working out. I want to journal more. Like whatever it is that you kind of want to do, there's so many different things that can kind of pile on, right? And I really tried to stress how we need to go slow. We need to implement them kind of one at a time, or like I mentioned, maybe going two at a time during a week, depending on what it is. And it's just, everybody's at a different level, right? Everybody is kind of, you know, I can handle this many new habits or this many new habits. Like there's no kind of right or wrong answer. You really have to feel what's best for you. But I understand that can be kind of hard to even trying to pick a habit or a ritual that's really going to benefit your goals and where you want to go. And so this is why step one is so crucial and important, which is that check-in and assessment, right? You got to find out where you are so you can figure out where you're going and how you're going to get there. And that's kind of like the pinpoints on your roadmap, right? Like, okay, I want to get to this destination, but I have to go through this way, and there might be some traffic on this way, or we're going to go through this city through rush hour. We're going to run into this problem. What are the things that we can do to try to go around? Is there another route that we can go around? And that's kind of like habits and rituals that you can implement into your life that will eventually, that might be difficult at the time. It's like, oh, I got to go all the way around the city. It's going to take longer, but I'm going to miss, you know, just being stuck in traffic. I'd rather drive an extra 15 minutes and actually be driving than be in standstill traffic going through the city. I don't know if you're like that, but I'm definitely like that. So if I'm kind of using that same analogy, that's the same thing for implementing habits into your life. It's like, okay, if I can practice these things and make these become a daily habit in my life, then that is going to be, it's like a crutch. It's going to benefit me later on, right? It's those seeds that we want to plant now that we can harvest later. But how do we pick the right habits, and how do we stick to them? So go back to your assessment list, figure out where you were 6 months ago and where you are today, and then try to pinpoint, okay, where do I want to go, so that we can figure out how you're going to get there. And these habits and rituals, the organizational piece, is what's going to kind of bring this all together. So when you're thinking about the habits that you are wanting to implement, like I said, there's so many just basic ones. I want to drink more water. I want to eat better. I want to exercise. Those are great. But those are pretty generalized habits, okay? Generalized things, which is awesome. But try to dig a little bit deeper. We are doing a deep spring clean here, remember, right? So dig as deep as you can. Get so specific in your habit, in your ritual, that there's, you know, it's tailored for you. It's made for you. I love setting up a morning routine for me. I love it. I think it's really been beneficial for me. After reading a couple books and different mentors and people that I look up to, they all have a really distinctive morning routine. And when I started doing that, even though I tried to do it all at once and it was too much, it was really making a difference. But my morning routine is completely different than, I shouldn't say completely, but it's slightly different than the people that I look up to or the people that I got the ideas from. So you have to tailor your habits and your rituals to you, or else you're also not going to be able to stick to them. If I like to do a morning routine and I really like to wake up early and I want to write my gratitudes, I like to write my journal and check in and do all those things. I like to do a little cleanup and maybe read and whatever, all these things that I like to do. But you are not a morning person at all. You don't function in the morning. It's just not your time. Then maybe you need to implement a nighttime routine where you have these different things, where you do write your gratitudes down and you do check in with yourself. Okay, how was today and how can I make tomorrow better? For me, I think that when I wake up and I start my day early, I feel productive. I feel like that's kind of when I have good ideas. That's when I have my most energy. That's just how I function, is in the mornings. It just works for me. And I've built that over time. I definitely wasn't always a morning person, but slowly over time, as actually going to school and working like crazy, I was forced to be waking up so early. And then I was like, wow, this is great. But maybe you're not like that. You have to tailor it to yourself. So maybe you want to implement a really good nighttime routine. Or, I say I want to drink 2 liters of water minimum a day. Okay, for me to do that, I like to carry a liter water bottle with me pretty much everywhere I go. And I need to drink out of that liter water bottle for me to be reaching my 2 to 3 liters a day goal that I like to do. And that's just how it works for me. If I am drinking out of a glass and just having a glass of water, it is way less likely for me to actually finish that glass of water at all, let alone drink 2 to 3 liters of water. But when I have a liter water bottle with me and I can see, okay, I've drank this much or I've drank this much, and I can really measure in front of my eyes, that's just what works best for me. So I carry around this liter bottle, which some people are like, oh my God, that's so annoying. But for me, it just works and it really helps me. It's kind of like my clutch to my habit. I want to drink that water, and I know that carrying around that liter bottle helps me do so I'm going to do that. So sometimes you have to kind of figure out what I like to call it, like a crutch to your habit that's going to help you do that every single day. So really dig deep into your assessment. You really got to commit to where you were and where you want to go and try to figure out, okay, what do I need to implement? What are the things I need to put on my roadmap that's going to get me there? Habits are hard. Rituals are hard. Organizing is hard. For me, I think it's so much fun because I think the fun parts about spring cleaning and doing all those things is finding old things that you're like, oh, I forgot I had that. Or like, wow, I forgot I had that sweater packed away in that box. Or like, wow, oh my God, I actually have all these cool books I haven't read yet. Or whatever the case is. I think it's the same thing with organizing your life, is when you try to dig deep and you kind of assess things, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that makes me feel really good. Like, morning routine makes me feel really good. Maybe you kind of dig deep and you're like, wow, I forgot that, like, when I actually fully cut out dairy or something, I feel really good. I don't know how you can forget that. That was maybe a bad example. But do you know what I mean? You kind of dig deep and find things like, oh yeah, that really works for me. Another kind of tip to this is looking back on times of your life when you felt productive, when you felt good, when you felt you were on track with your goals, when you just felt good mentally and physically. Go back to those times and start writing down, okay, where was I? Who was I surrounded by? What kind of habits was I implementing into my every single day routine that was helping me or contributing to the way that I was feeling? Because I was feeling good, right? And so that's like when I talked about eliminating some people from your life. A good way to go back and look at that is, hey, how do I feel around this person? Or when I was at my highest point, who was I around? Or when I was at my lowest point, who was I surrounded by? So think about good times of your life. I was super productive back then. Okay, what were the habits that you were doing? Were you waking up early and maybe doing a morning routine, even though you swear you are not a morning person? But like, you were forced to wake up early, so you had to do it. And you realize looking back now, you're like, wow, I was doing really good. I felt really good. It's like discovering that t-shirt that you found in your box in your garage, okay? It's exciting. It's fun. So really try to dig deep into your back back history, I guess, the times when you felt good, the times when you felt bad. And I think that can really help pinpoint what kind of habits that you want to implement or the stuff that you need to take out of your life. So let's talk a little bit more about keeping a habit. And so going slowly but surely, that is the best way. You got to start simple. You don't want to just try to completely change your entire life in one day. It's really easy to get over-motivated. I am definitely guilty of this. You get over-motivated, and then you take on too much, and then you end up burning yourself down and crashing down, and then everything, and then you're back to square one, okay? So start simple, start slow, and slowly implement these things that's comfortable to your speed. I think another beneficial thing is to tell somebody about this. Hey, I'm really trying to implement these 2 habits in my life for the next 3 weeks. Hold me to it. It's like your accountability buddy. Hold me to going to the gym 5 times a week for the next 3 weeks. Hold me to it. And when you have somebody that's rooting you on and holding you to that, it makes it a lot easier to stick to it because you're not just promising yourself, but you're promising somebody else. And they're also there to root you on and pick you up off the couch and force you to go to the gym on those days that you really just don't feel like it. Because we as humans so easily talk ourselves out of things so quickly. It's like you can have 2 thoughts and it's just like, okay, well, I'm just not going to go. You can rationalize it in your head so quickly. What I really like too is the 5-second rule. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but the 5-second rule is basically you have 5 seconds to do something before your mind tells you that you're not going to do it and that you'll listen to that. So as an example, waking up in the morning, your alarm goes off. And if you don't get out of bed, if you don't move your body within 5 seconds, the chances are of you getting out of bed at that time are very unlikely. You have 5 seconds. That's why the snooze button, it's an evil button. It's an evil button that we all are guilty of using all the time. So next time that you're like, okay, I got to go to the gym today. And you have that thought, okay, I got to go to the gym at 3:00. And you know that you need to leave 10 minutes before, okay? And it's 2:49 and you're like, okay, I got to get up. And you have 5 seconds, count to 5. And if you don't get up in that time, the odds of you going are way less likely. So count to 5. It's as simple as that. Okay, well, I say it's simple. It's more difficult than I'm making it sound, I know. But you got to try those 5 seconds. You want to stay consistent. You want to remind yourself. Another thing that you can do is put sticky notes all over your room. That's what I love to do. I love to write sticky notes. I like to remind myself, hey, I'm focusing on these goals. It's also what I like to do in my check-ins. I like to do my manifestation. So I write down my goals as if they've already happened because that helps me stay on track. That helps me set my intentions and set those habits. Forming a trigger can be really helpful as well. So a trigger is basically a ritual that you're going to use right before you execute that habit. So if you want to wake up earlier, this could mean that waking up in exactly the same way each morning, right? So if you wanted to quit smoking, say, you could practice snapping your fingers each time you felt the urge to pick up a cigarette. That is your trigger. Or you could pair it. I really like the pairing effect. So say you want to make sure that you take your daily vitamins every single day. I love to pair it to something that you already do. So every single morning you wake up and you brush your teeth. Pair your new habit with an old habit, something that you do all the time, and it makes it easier. It's like that trigger for you. Okay, I'm brushing my teeth, and then I'm going to keep the bottles of my vitamins beside my toothbrush. And I'm like, okay, every single time I brush my teeth, I take my vitamins. So you pair those 2 habits together, something that you already have as a daily habit with a new habit, and it makes it a lot easier. Remove temptation. Remove it. Just remove it. If you want to eat healthier, do not have your pantry full with all of these snacks. I know myself that if I have chips in the house or I have ice cream or chocolate in the house, I will eat it. And I will eat all of it, and I will eat it all very, very fast. So if I don't buy those things, I am way less likely to get off my butt when I'm craving those things to go to the store and buy them. But if they're already in my pantry, I'll eat them no problem. I'll eat the whole bag because they're right there and it's easy. So remove the temptation away from it so that you can implement that habit a lot easier into your life. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we really are going to get into a lot of the fun stuff. We talked about habits, we talked about these rituals that you can do and digging deeper into your past to figure out what's right for you. And now we're going to start adding some fun stuff to your spring cleaning. Lots of information to come still, so do not go anywhere. I will be right back. We are going to be on the last stretch of today's episode, and it's a good one. It's a good one to round it all off, and you're going to be able to treat yourself and feel good, and it's going to be fun. So don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast gives you advice on everything from hair to fashion to skincare products. We'll talk about the latest trends in makeup, hairstyles, and anti-aging remedies. And we'll cover all of the newest fashion trends. If you have an interest in or questions about the beauty trends that might work best for you, the Golden State Media Concepts Beauty Tips Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Beauty Tips Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. We are on the last stretch of today's episode, and I promise some fun things that we are going to now finish off with, so I'm super excited. So let's kind of summarize what we went over before the break here. We talked about, okay, we're going to organize our lives now. What habits, what rituals, what goals am I going to have? Am I going to implement a morning routine, a night routine? Doesn't matter what you kind of list of what you want to do. It just matters that you take it slowly, you take it one at a time, and you just kind of assess yourself along the way and see, when you're ready to implement the next thing, okay? Basically, we are planting seeds now that we are going to harvest later. So that in 6 months from now, you can give yourself a big pat on the back and you can say, wow, you can reflect on where you were and where you are now. And you can say, I made the necessary moves and I stuck to it. It was sustainable. It was so good and I feel so good. So now I can reassess again and improve for the next 6 months. Big steps. I know it's so much information, but this is the fun stuff, okay? Think about it when you're spring cleaning your house. You have everything nice and clean, okay? You've gotten rid of a bunch of stuff. You've decluttered areas. It feels fresh. It feels like a clean slate. It feels nice and beautiful. What's something that you want to do? I don't know. For me, if I have a new clean space, I think it's really fun to add something new and cool. Maybe you want to treat yourself to those like new throw pillows, or you want to buy a cool vase and like put a bouquet of your favorite flowers into it because that makes you happy. Maybe you want to buy a new centerpiece for your dining table or a big plant that can now fit in that corner because you removed the things that were cluttered there that were no longer serving you, okay? It's like adding a new fun thing into your house so that when somebody comes to visit you or you just get to enjoy it by yourself, you're like, everything is clean, and look at that cool new thing I bought myself. I love my throw pillows. I love having my favorite flowers and a beautiful bouquet on my counter every morning. Like, that is just so amazing, okay? You kind of treat yourself, right? It's fun. You get to add that cool thing. So how can you do that into your life? What can you add into your life that is kind of that cool new thing that is going to better your overall wellness and just how you feel mentally and physically, okay? I like to call this investing in yourself, okay? What can you add into your life that is going to be invest in yourself and better you for later on down the road? This could be taking online classes. We definitely know everything is online these days, right? So maybe there's some online classes you can take. Maybe there's a new hobby that you want to implement. Maybe there's some like online conferences you can do. There's so many different things out there literally that you can do from your home that cost no money or to very little money that you can invest in yourself. Maybe you want to read some new books. Knowledge is a huge investment in yourself, okay? Education. Maybe you want to make a new effort of making new friends. Maybe you kind of went through the assessing, okay, what's serving me, what's not serving me, what are the relationships I have in my life. Maybe you're like, wow, I need to reassess who I am surrounding myself with. So now you want to make the effort to make new friends, okay? Maybe you want to reach out to some old friends that you disconnected with, but you're like, wow, that person actually brought a lot of positivity and good things into my life, and maybe that's something now you want to go and connect with them again. So you want to do things that make you feel good and that are going to align with your roadmap. Does that make sense? Investment, I know when I say investment, it sounds, I don't want to spend money, I can't spend money. And if you can spend money and buy yourself something that you know is a really good investment for yourself, that's great too. I think treating yourself is so good, especially after you've done all this deep cleaning and hard work. I think it's really important to be able to treat yourself. And the reward system, it works. I don't care what anybody says. A reward system works, okay? And if you have to do a reward system for yourself for as long as, like, forever, do it. Do it. If that's what works for you, do it. It doesn't have to be a huge reward, but you're like, hey, if I'm gonna eat, super clean all week and stuff, I am going to reward myself with my favorite chocolate bar at the end of the week. Or I am going to reward myself with buying myself a new book, or maybe a new shirt that I really wanted, or I'm going to take an online class that costs a little bit of money. There are also online classes and things that we can do that cost zero money. Investing in yourself can be working out more. It can be making sure that you're drinking enough water, that you're getting the right nutrients. Maybe investing in yourself is listening to a podcast like this that is all about self-improvement and health and wellness and just bettering your overall life. That's an investment. You listening to me talk right now is an investment for yourself because you are here to learn. You want to better yourself. You want to learn, okay, what is deep cleaning my life? You looked at the episode and you're like, what does that even mean? But now you're here, you're investing in yourself, you got your pen and paper down, you're writing all these things down. That is an investment, a free investment. And it's so, so important to continue investing in yourself. I think education and all that's never investment wasted, whether you're spending money or you're not. But like I said, there's so many free online things. Investing in yourself could also mean just spending more time with people or spending more time alone or whatever it is. This is why it's so important to assess and figure out where you are and what you need so that you can invest those things. And then in 6 months from now, you're like, heck yeah, I did it. This is awesome. So much information I have thrown at you today, I know. Now I want to kind of summarize the entire episode right now and kind of just work through a little bit more. So when we're deep cleaning, we're going to be checking in, we're going to assess. Where am I right now? Where do I want to go? It's okay to not know where you want to go, but you'll never figure out where you want to go if you don't know where you are today. What seeds did you plant 6 months ago that are the result of where you are today? What seeds can you plant today that you can harvest 6 months from now? There's a lot of things that go into this, okay? And I know we can't control the pandemic. We can't control a lot of outside factors that happen in our lives, but we can control how we respond to them. We can control, how deep we clean our lives. If we answer all these questions truthfully and honestly, and we dig really deep and we spend the time to figure out these answers, as hard as it is, that is going to better your overall wellness extensively. It is going to make a huge difference in your life. Okay, so you're going to assess. You're going to figure out where you are. That's going to help you figure out where you want to go. All the seeds you're going to plant. You're going to dig even deeper. You're going to get down and dirty and honest with what is dirty in your life. What is holding you back emotionally? What is that one thought? Maybe you have negative self-talk that is just constantly in your brain. You're saying, I'm never good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Or I'm not beautiful. I'm not beautiful. Or whatever the case is, you have this thought that is eating at you. And you know that if you just dealt with that thought, or you dealt with those emotions or that scenario, that you would feel a weight lifted off of your shoulders. I am telling you, there is no better time than right now to start dealing with that. There is no better time to resolve the things that are holding you back than right now in this moment. Because all we have really is right now. We have this moment. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's not. But let's say you're living your life, everyone's like, live your life to the fullest, live every day like it's your last, and it's all these kind of cliche little things, but it's true. Because if you died tomorrow, or you weren't able to live the life that you want to live tomorrow, how are you going out? Are you going out as somebody who you are proud of, who made a difference, who worked hard to grow yourself, to be a positive impact on others? Were you trying to reach your goals? Were you working towards being that ideal self or getting to the end of that roadmap? Were you working on that? Because if you were, no matter what happens tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Then you were a legend for yourself in your own life because you worked hard at your goals. And that's how we should be living every single day, is just knowing that tomorrow is not promised. And if I went out tomorrow, what am I leaving behind? Are people going to think about me as, wow, she or he, I worked really, really hard on my goals and getting to the end of that roadmap. I worked every day on being a positive impact on others, on taking care of my physical and my mental health. Did you journal? Did you pay attention? Did you invest in yourself? Or did you just wait around for things to happen until 6 months from now and you try to reassess and you're like, wow, I did not plant the right seeds. What seeds are you planting? Deep clean your life. Okay, so you're going to organize. You're going to organize what habits, what rituals are you implementing into your life now that is going to help you 6 months from now that you can harvest later? These are tough questions. They're not easy. I get it. But now at the very end, what can you add? What now can you add into your life? You've checked in. You've deep cleaned into those deep dark thoughts. You've organized. You figured, okay, what habits, what rituals are that you can implement into your life. And now that you have removed things that no longer serve you, you have decluttered your space, what can you add? What kind of investments can you make? Whether they cost money or they don't cost money. Can I work out more? Can I drink more water? Can I start a morning routine where I write down 3 gratitudes and assess how I'm feeling every single day? Can I reach out to people and be a positive impact? Can I pay it forward? There's so many things that we can do that better our overall wellness and health and everything that we can do today. We can do right now. Okay. It's a lot of information. I know. But you have to take inventory of your life. You have to eliminate distractions. You have to remove the unnecessary. And you have to pare down what really matters. What matters to you that if tomorrow is not promised, what matters to you right now? Are you making an effort to do that, to be that person, to get to where you want to go? You have to take the inventory of your life. So that is spring cleaning your life. I hope this was really beneficial for you because I seriously enjoyed talking about this so much. Like I said, this is something that I really worked through within the past month or so for myself, and it's been really beneficial and it's been really eye-opening for me. I think a lot of these questions and a lot of these things that we start to break down are things that we have neglected for a long time because they are hard to deal with. And I know that I kind of actually discovered, I had a few kind of epiphanies, if you will, of, oh wow, I do that, or wow, I have this unhealthy thinking pattern that way, or, I'm attracting negative energy because I am being negative energy, right? My vibration is not where I want it to be. And that's why I have these people into my life. And, if I change my vibration and I try to be positive energy, I try to, put that positive energy out into the world, I'm also going to receive that positive energy. If I implement the habits slowly but surely, I will be in a better place 6 months from now because I'm implementing those seeds. Whether it's slow or fast, whatever it is, you have to go at your own pace because that's the thing too. You spring cleaning your life is going to look a little bit different than me spring cleaning my life. We can ask ourselves the same questions, but we're going to get completely different answers. And we're going to dig deep into what's really affecting us and what's sabotaging and what's working. And we have to pay attention to those answers and try to work them together so that we are in a better place 6 months from now. And we're living our life to the fullest and the happiest and the healthiest. Mentally, physically, we're investing in ourselves. We're adding cool things into our lives. We're getting rid of things that no longer serve us. It's so crucial and important. So I hope you really kind of figured out what was dirty, what was collecting dust in your life, those thoughts that were eating at you. And I hope you feel a little bit of a weight lifted off your shoulder from just kind of walking through these realizations or through these questions with me, because for me, it was just eye-opening to think, oh, wow, I haven't thought about that in a really long time. I just haven't, because it's in the back of my junk drawer. It's in the back of the junk drawer, and I just have not been paying attention to it. So pay attention. Take inventory of your life. Okay, I'm done. I hope this was beneficial. I hope I didn't rant and just go on too much for you. I hope you wrote all this stuff down, and I hope you really do deep clean your life. So thank you so much for listening to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. I am going to be back sharing more episodes with you every single week, so make sure that you are tuning in. Give us a follow on social media. We got Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I will be updating those regularly for you, okay? So please go give us a follow, give us a like. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating on this episode so that I know that you like it. If you want to leave a comment, if you have anything that you want to say, or you're like, wow, I took this inventory and it was really beneficial, I would love to hear from you. So please never hesitate to leave a comment or to reach out on one of our social media platforms. I would love to chit chat with you and kind of, if it was beneficial for you, if you have any questions, I would just love to talk to you. So definitely head over to those channels. Thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait to share more information with you next time. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.